Australia has almost 60,000 kilometers of coastline. That's over 37,000 miles. And after 4 years of living and road tripping around the country, I have made it to beach towns in nearly every single state. Today I am sharing my 17 absolute favorites. Let's get into it. Section 1. Beach towns near cities. Let's start with the beach towns that sit right next to major cities, because honestly, some of my favorites are here. Manly, Sydney. I lived in Manly for 6 months, and it genuinely feels like its own little coastal town even though it is technically part of Sydney. You take a 30-minute ferry from Circular Quay, gliding across Sydney Harbour, and you arrive right at Manly Wharf. From there, the Corso, this amazing strip of surf shops, cafes, and bars, leads straight down to the beach. Surfers are out early, beach volleyball runs all day, and the walks around Shelley Beach in North Head are stunning. It is so easy to forget you are still in Sydney. Street Kilda, Melbourne. Street Kilda is Melbourne's answer to a beach town, just a 20-minute tram ride from the city centre. I lived in Elwood, right next door, and spent a ton of time here. Auckland Street is a social heart of the neighbourhood, famous for its incredible pastry shops, brunch spots, and bars. It is not really a swimming beach, but the atmosphere more than makes up for it. Live music, epic nightlife, and always a lively, slightly chaotic energy. I loved it. Cotslow and Scarborough, Perth. Just outside Perth, these two beaches are some of the most beautiful city beaches in the country. Cotslow is more relaxed. Think grassy picnic spots and legendary sunset views from the Ocean Beach Hotel rooftop. Scarborough leans more into surf culture with a lively beachfront strip. The water is incredibly clear and the sand is soft and white. Just be aware, shark sightings are fairly common out here, though there are solid warning systems in place. Burleigh Heads, Gold Coast. Burleigh Heads is easily my favorite part of the Gold Coast. While the rest of the Gold Coast can feel flashy and high-rise, almost like Australia's Vegas, Burleigh keeps a much more relaxed community feel. The national park here is a highlight. Walking trails wind through trees along the rocky coastline, and from the headland you can actually see the Gold Coast skyline in the distance. Spectacular, but still peaceful. Section 2. Must-see beach towns around Australia. Now let's travel around the country. Sorrento and Portsea, Mornington Peninsula. The Mornington Peninsula is one of those regions that just has everything. Wineries, breweries, farm restaurants, and stunning beaches. What makes it unique is that you get two completely different beach experiences. Calm, protected front beaches on one side, and wild, dramatic back beaches on the other. I lived nearby for a few months and explored it thoroughly. Highly recommend. Lorne and Apollo Bay, Great Ocean Road. These two towns are natural stops on the Great Ocean Road, and I recommend staying in at least one of them in my tried and tested Great Ocean Road itinerary. Lorne is known for its waterfalls and coastal walks. Apollo Bay is a quiet to fishing town vibe. And if you stop at the local pie shop in Apollo Bay for a scallop pie after a long drive, you will not regret it. Trust me. Byron Bay. Byron Bay was one of the first places I fell in love with on my very first road trip around Australia. There's this unique energy here, surf culture blended with wellness and alternative lifestyles. Yoga studios, crystal shops, organic cafes, and incredible sunrises. The walk up to Cape Byron Lighthouse, the easternmost point of mainland Australia, is a must-do, and if you are lucky, you will spot dolphins or whales from the top. Esperance. You know those photos that look too beautiful to be real? That's Esperance. I drove there from Albany along Western Australia's southern coast, and when I finally reached Cape Le Grand National Park, the water was the brightest turquoise I had ever seen. Lucky Bay is the most famous beach here, partly because kangaroos actually hang out on sand. Kangaroos. On the beach. Classic Australia. Exmouth. Exmouth sits on Western Australia's Ningaloo coast, and while the town itself is small, the surrounding area is world-class. The highlight for me was snorkeling with whale sharks during migration season in April. Small planes fly overhead to spot them. Only one boat enters the water at a time. It is incredibly well-managed and absolutely mind-blowing. And Turquoise Bay inside Cape Range National Park? The clearest water I have ever seen in my life. Jervis Bay. A few hours south of Sydney, Jervis Bay is famous for its insanely white sand and crystal clear, calm water. Hyams Beach here is often cited as having some of the whitest sand in the world. The bay is enormous, with several small coastal towns dotted around it. It is a popular weekend escape from Sydney, and once you arrive, you completely understand why. Noosa Heads. Noosa is one of Queensland's most famous beach towns, and it earns that reputation. The beaches are beautiful, but the real star is Noosa National Park. The coastal walking track winds along cliffs and hidden bays, and it is genuinely common to spot koalas resting in the trees along the trail. Plus, the town itself is filled with great restaurants and boutique shops. It has a slightly more upscale feel than other surf towns, but it works perfectly here. Port Douglas. Port Douglas is about an hour north of Cairns in tropical far north Queensland, and it honestly felt like being somewhere in Southeast Asia. Lush, warm, palm-lined, and relaxed. 4-mile beach stretches along the coast, and the town is your gateway to both the Great Barrier Reef and the Daintree Rainforest. 2 United Nations educational, scientific, and cultural organization World Heritage Sites, right on your doorstep. Broome. Broome is unlike anywhere else in Australia. Cable Beach is famous for its epic sunsets. The sky turns orange and pink over the Indian Ocean, and the iconic sight of camels walking along the shoreline. The contrast of white sand, turquoise water, and deep red cliffs makes this place feel completely surreal. It is also the gateway to the remote Kimberley region if you are heading further north. Margaret River, best known for its world-class wine region, and yes, you should absolutely visit the wineries. Margaret River also has stunning beaches and dramatic coastal scenery. I stopped at Busselton Jetty while passing through, one of the longest timber jetties in the southern hemisphere, stretching nearly 2 kilometers into the ocean. This one is for the travelers who love combining beach time with great food and wine. Swansea, Tasmania. Tasmania had to make this list, and Swansea is a perfect base for exploring it. It is a tiny, quiet seaside town on Tasmania's east coast, but it sits right near Freycinet National Park in the famous Wineglass Bay, one of the most beautiful beaches in the country. The views across the water toward the Hazzards mountain range are simply stunning. Airlie Beach. Airlie Beach is your gateway to the Whitsunday Islands, home to Whitehaven Beach, one of the most famous beaches in Australia. I spent a night on a boat out here on my first trip around Australia, and I still remember pulling on a stinger chute to swim there. But Airlie itself is a great backpacker-friendly atmosphere, a lively marina, and real charm of its own. Coffin Bay. Coffin Bay in South Australia is remote, rugged, and absolutely worth the effort. The town sits near Coffin Bay National Park, where you will find cliffs, secluded beaches, and incredible wildlife. And the oysters here, fresh from the sea. It is best visited on a road trip west from Adelaide, but make the effort, because it is one of those places you will not forget. Yamba. And last but not least, Yamba, the under-the-radar gem of northern New South Wales. It sits at the tip of a peninsula surrounded by the Pacific Ocean, inlets, channels, and islands. There are headlands, long surf beaches, cliffy views, ocean pools, and bays, incredible variety packed into one small town. It has become a hot spot for young Australians, and once you visit, you will see why it is one of the best-kept secrets on the East Coast. And that is my list. 17 of the best beach towns in Australia, from someone who actually lived there and explored them. Whether you are planning a road trip, a city escape, or just dreaming about Australia right now, I hope this gave you some inspiration. If you found this helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more Australia travel content. Drop a comment below. Which beach town is on your bucket list? I will see you in the next one.